Hello, and welcome to the Math Connection. My name is Miss Lenz, and we are going to do some more practice on how we can factor polynomials. This is a very important skill to be able to do. You use it a ton later on in algebra, so we have to do a lot of practice on this. So here is our list. These are all of the methods that we have gone through together, all of the different methods that we could use for factoring. And I also put on there how I like to use them, or like when I like to use them. So that I can use this list to decide what method I can use when I come upon any kind of factoring problem. So I'm just going to quickly go through this list. Number one is to factor the greatest common factor. And I put check first in red after this because every time we're trying to factor, we should start by thinking, what can I take out of all of these terms? You can't always take something, but we should try to see if we can every single time. So that's the first method. We're going to check on every single problem. After we do that, then we have to decide what other method we can use. So numbers 2 and 3 up there, guess and check or Xbox, those are for if we're factoring trinomials or when they have 3 terms. So we can only use those if there are 3 terms. Numbers 4 and 5 are if we have 2 terms. Number 4 is the difference of squares. That has to have 2 terms. There has to be a minus in the middle of them, and everything has to be perfect squares. Number 5 is really similar. 2 terms, could be a plus or a minus sign in the middle, but they all have to be perfect cubes instead of perfect squares. And number 6, I like to use factoring by grouping if we have like an even number of terms, if we have 4 or 6 or 8 terms. So the problems that we're going to be doing today, we have to decide which method we're going to be using for them, and we're going to have to use more than one method on the same problem. So we're going to have to factor several times to get all the way factored. So let's take a look at our first one. Remember, the directions are going to say factor, and that means rewrite this as multiplying. What could I multiply together to give me this? So our first one is going to be 2x to the 4th. Nope, just x to the 4th, sorry. X to the 4th power plus 2x to the 3rd power minus 8x minus 16. So I'm going to go through that list, and my suggestion is to get this list and have it sitting right next to you so that you can just go through the checklist and see which one you can use. I'm not going to flip back and forth the whole time, but right now I will. So our first method is, or the thing that we should check first every time, we just said, is the greatest common factor. What can I take out of all of these terms? So if I look at these terms, I have 4 terms. Can I take a variable out of all of them? I cannot, because this last one doesn't have a variable, so I can't take an x out of everything. And if I think about a common factor, a 2 is in these last terms, but it's not in this one. And other than that, we can't take anything out. So I can't use that method, but we should check it every time. So we can't factor the greatest common factor. So our next method, guess and check, these 2 we have to have only 3 terms with. I have 4 terms, so I can't use those methods. These 2 methods I can only use if I have 2 terms. This has 4, can't use that method. That only leaves me factoring by grouping. So let's use factoring by grouping to finish this problem off. Factoring by grouping, remember, we're going to group the first half of the terms together, and we're going to group the second half of the terms together. Then we're going to look at those 2 pieces separately. So we're only looking at this first one first, and we're thinking, what can I take out of both of those terms, just the first 2? I can take an x to the 3rd power out. If I take x to the 3rd power out, I'm left with x plus 2. And that's just the first parentheses. And then I'm going to do the same exact thing for the second parentheses. What can I take out of both of those terms? Well, I notice that an 8 goes into both of those terms, or can be divided by both of those. We can divide both of those terms by 8. Remember, this minus sign stays, so that's going to be a minus, and then that 8. Then I'm actually taking 8 out, but actually I'm taking negative 8 out. So if I take a negative 8 out of this first term, I'm just going to have an x left. If I take a negative 8 out of negative 16, I'm going to have a plus and a 2 left. So what that did is that took our original 4-term polynomial and it turned it into having only 2 terms. 1 term, 2 terms. And I noticed something about those 2 terms. I noticed that they both have an x plus 2 in them. So I can pull an x plus 2 out of both of those 2 terms as well. So I'm going to take an x plus 2 out. And then I have to look for what's left. Well, in my first term, this I'm taking out, so I only have x to the third. And in the second term, I'm taking this out, so I only have a minus 8. So here is my first method of factoring. We factored by grouping, and this is what I'm getting. But if I see an exponent that's higher than 1, like this first one right here has an exponent of 1, that tells me that that one is done. I don't have to factor anymore on that one. So that one I can just save. But this one has an exponent that's higher than 1. I should check to see if I can factor that any further. Can I break that down any further? So we have to go back to our methods. What methods could we use? We already checked greatest common factor, so we don't have to check that one again. This has only 2 terms. So if I go back to my list, I can only look at the ones that have 2 terms, which are these 2. Okay? So I need to know, are these perfect squares or are these perfect cubes? Well, I notice 8. 8 is not a perfect square because nothing times itself will give me an 8, or not a nice number times itself will give me 8. However, I do know that 8 is a perfect cube because 2 times 2 times 2 gives me 8. X to the third is also a perfect cube because x times x times x gives me x to the third. So this is a perfect cube minus a perfect cube. So we are going to use the difference of perfect cubes. That's the method that we had learned about before. The difference of perfect cubes, we learned a little formula for it. I am going to put that down here at the bottom. It was this, a cubed minus b cubed. If you want to watch a video that reminds you how to do this one, you can click up here in this link up here and it'll show you how we did this one. If you need a refresher, this is a tough method. Equals a minus b times a squared plus ab plus b squared. We just learned a little formula. And what we said in that, if you watch that video, is in order for me to use this formula, I need to know what a is and I need to know what b is. So that's what we're going to start with. Remember, I'm only looking at this parentheses right here. This x plus 2, we're going to just click save on that and save it until later. Save it till our final answer. Okay? So let's look at this parentheses. We need to find a and b. A is going to be basically the cube root of the first term, cube root of x to the third. What times itself 3 times will give me x to the third. X times x times x gives me x to the third. So a is going to be x. Wherever I see an a in that formula, I'm replacing it with an x. B is going to be the cube root of the second term, the 8. What times itself 3 times will give me 8. 2 times 2 times 2 will give me 8. So b is going to be a 2. Wherever I see a b in my formula down there, I'm going to replace it with a 2. So let's use that formula now that we have a and b. So I'm starting with this first part right here, a minus b. So I'm going to take a, which is x, and I'm going to subtract b, which is 2. X minus 2 is going to be my first parentheses. My second parentheses, we're starting with a squared, so x squared, plus a times b, which is 2 times x, or just 2x, and plus b squared plus 2 squared, which is a 4. And these are my 2 parentheses. If I remultiply these ones, I will get this green one right here. That's what I would get back, okay? But my final answer for this has to be, what can I multiply together to give me my original problem? This one up here. What would give me that original problem back? So I have to have all of the factors that I found throughout this process. And the one that we don't have in there yet is this x plus 2. This x plus 2 needs to come up here, or needs to come down here. Now this right here is my final answer. It would take a lot of distributing, but if I was to distribute all of this, if I wanted to check my answer, I could redistribute, and I would have to get this original problem back, and I would get that back if I were to redistribute this one. Okay? So again, we had to use more than one method in this one. We used factoring by grouping, and we used the difference of perfect cubes. That was 2 different methods. Okay? So we're going to have to use more than one method. Here we go. Let's try this one. Again, the same directions. We are factoring. And I want us to factor 4x squared minus 14, nope, not 4x squared, 4x to the 4th minus 14x to the 3rd minus 30x squared. So again, you should have that list of methods right next to you. What method should we start with every single time? is the first one, greatest common factor. What can I take out of all of these terms? I notice, first of all, that there are x's in all of these terms. There are at least 2 x's in all of these terms, so I can for sure take an x squared out of all of them. And I also notice, though, that a 2 goes into all 3 of these numbers, 4, 14, and 30, so I can take out a 2x squared. And let's actually take out a 2x squared. If I were to take a 2x squared out of the first term, I'm going to be left with 2x squared. 2x squared times 2x squared gives me that 4x squared. If I take it out of the second term, minus 7, just x. And the last term, I would have minus 15. So that was my first method, and I'm done with that method, the greatest common factor. But now I need to check if I can go any further. So right here in front, that can't be, nothing can happen with that one. I don't have any plus or minuses in there, so that's as far as I can go with that one. That one we're going to click save on for later. That'll have to be in our final answer. So let's just look in here. This does have an exponent that's bigger than 2, and there are 3 terms in that. So if I think about my list, I'm going to the ones that have 3 terms. There's 2 options for this one. We can use Xbox, or we can use guess and check. This is a preference. If you like to use guess and check better, you can. If you like to use Xbox better, you can do that one. I'm going to use guess and check for that one. But you can use Xbox right now, and it will give you the same exact answer. But we're only using Xbox with this, what's in the parentheses, or guess and check with what's in the parentheses. That other part we're just clicking save for later, okay? So we need to guess and check. We open 2 parentheses, and we are trying to guess what 2 numbers will multiply to 15 at the end, and then we're going to check it to see if we are correct. So my first times my first, remember, has to multiply to 2x squared. Now it has to have a 2x and an x. And then my last times my last has to multiply to 15, so I could do 1 and 15, or I could also do 3 and 5. Those are my only options. I like to start with the ones that are closer to each other, the 3 and the 5. So I'm going to guess where that would go, a 3 and a 5. And I'm going to check to see if that would even be able to make a 7 in the middle. So right here we have a 10x. Inners, we have a 3x. And I surely can make a 7 out of 10x and 3x. So I guessed correctly on my first one, luckily. And now I need to get my signs correct. These need to add to a negative 7x, which means that the 10 needs to be negative, which means that I have to put the minus sign right here with the 5. Negative 5 times that positive 2 will give me that negative 10x. That means this has to be a plus, okay? So I guessed and checked. I broke it into these 2 different parentheses, 2x plus 3 and x minus 5. And if I remultiplied those together, I would get what I'm underlining in green. I would just get this first part, or this last part, but that's not what I need to get my final answer. I need all of my factors in it. So I took out that 2x squared in the beginning, and I clicked save for later, and now is later. Now I need to put that back in here. Here is my final answer. If I remultiply all of those, I would get this original problem back here. Okay. Let's do one more of these. Factoring 81 x to the 4th minus 1. So let's use our first method. Remember, we should check this every single time. What can I take out of all of these terms? Well, I noticed that there isn't even an x in the second term, so I can't take an x out. There's no factors of the last one except for 1, and I wouldn't want to take a 1 out. So I can't take something out of both of these terms, but we should always check. Next methods, we have only 2 terms, so we have to decide. There's only 2 methods that have 2 terms. It's the difference of squares or the sum or difference of cubes. So now I need to decide if these are perfect squares or perfect cubes. And this one's kind of tough because we have a 1. 1 times 1 gives me 1, but 1 times 1 times 1 also gives me 1. So this is a perfect square and a perfect cube, so that doesn't really help me. 81 though. If I think of 81, well, I know 9 times 9 gives me 81. That means this is a perfect square. There aren't 3 numbers there isn't a number that I could multiply by itself 3 times that would give me an 81. Because, like, let's try 2, for example. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. That's too low. 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. Still too low. 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. That's too low. 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. That's too high. So it's somewhere between 4 and 5, but I don't know what number it's going to be, right? It's not a nice number. So this is not a perfect cube. This is perfect squares. Also, x to the fourth is a perfect cube because x squared times x squared will give me x to the fourth. So I am dealing with the difference of perfect squares with this one because these are all perfect squares and I have a minus in the middle. So if I use the difference of perfect squares method, I'm going to open my two parentheses. Remember, those two are going to look identical, except for that one's going to have a plus and one is going to have a minus. Now, the first times the first, this one times this one has to multiply to 81x to the fourth. So let's just start with 81. And they have to be the same exact number. So 9 times 9 has to go here. Then x squared times x squared will give me that x to the fourth. 9x squared times 9x squared will give me that 81x to the fourth. So we have that one right. One's plus, one's minus. And now the last two, I'm going to do these in red. This one times this one has to multiply to 1. What times itself will give me a 1. 1 and 1. They have to be the exact same number. Okay? So I use the difference of perfect squares, and this is what I got. But now, again, those exponents are still over 1. So I need to check these. Well, the first thing that jumps out to me is this right here, because it looks exactly like what we started with, just with different numbers. There's two terms. There's a minus sign in the middle. 1 is a perfect square, 9 is a perfect square, and x squared is a perfect square. They're all still perfect squares. So I can use that exact same method again. I can break this down again farther using the same method. So I'm going to open my two parentheses. These have to look identical, except for that one is a plus in the middle, one has a minus. First times first has to be 3x and 3x. They have to be the same and multiply to 9x squared. Last times last has to be a 1 times a 1 because they have to be the same number and they have to multiply to 1. So this parentheses broke down into those two new parentheses. Now, can I use that same thing on, I'm going to use a red, can I use the same thing on this one? And the answer to that is no, because these are all perfect squares still, but there's a plus sign in the middle. And you can't use that difference of perfect squares if there's a plus sign. Also, these aren't perfect cubes, so I can't use the sum, I guess this would be the sum of perfect cubes, because these aren't perfect cubes. So there is no method that I can use for this one. So what do I do with that? All that I do with that is I bring it down in my final answer. 9x squared plus 1, and we just can't break that down into more parentheses. That's as far as that one will go. So again, this would take quite a bit of redistributing, but if I did redistribute it, I would get this original problem back up here. Okay? So again, these are pretty confusing. They're hard to decide which method can I use. Am I done factoring? So we need a lot of practice on these. If you want to see another video that has some different looking problems, but it's the same idea, we still have to factor several times, you can go ahead and click on this video, and there's just some extra practice ones on that one. If you liked this video, if it helped you with your factoring, please remember to hit that subscribe button, and I hope to see you all soon.